right, so we're getting into V2. Introducing pressure from different angles. That's kind of the main concept of our top game here. Okay, on the other side. So the first thing that we're talking about is the concept of the Von Flue choke, also known as the shoulder pressure choke. So what we start with here is a transition from home base, also known as classic side control. Okay, he's got his underhook, he's got head control, good pressure. Okay, and it just introduces our offensive strategy of transitioning from home base to 100 kilos. Okay, so the key movement there is Hunter's going to replace his underhook with a reach back and palm down, blocking the hip. Okay, so it's just a modified pin that we can use to draw out reactions from the person on bottom. Okay, and we see it all the time, especially in lower ranks, where in the absence of this underhook, I have my hand free, and a lot of times what's going to happen, people are going to have a tendency to want to hip out and clamp down on the head here. Okay, so the Von Flue choke from 100 kilos is also known as a shoulder pressure choke. So all Hunter really needs to do here is to drive this shoulder in nice and tight, keep the palms on the mat, actively driving the shoulder into the neck, okay? And the key here, and it's already starting to work, the key to the finish is to start to walk towards the north-south and introduce an angle. Angles create strangles, okay? So you can create a lot of pressure staying perpendicular to them, but when you really double down and want to send this choke home, we're going to pivot to the north-south. Just a little bit, just introducing an angle there, okay? And then the last key is going to be to try to open your hip, your top side hip, and almost like your belly button is trying to open towards the ceiling. And you can hear it in my voice, the pressure is, it's getting very strong. Now, what Hunter's missing, see all this space between his elbow and my neck? We want to take that away. Okay, 100 kilos suggests that our palms are on the floor. No space. Actively flexing the shoulder into the neck as we start to walk, and then we open. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So it brings into play a few things. You got to understand how to transition on top. We introduce 100 kilos by starting in home base so that you understand how to move, okay? So we go home base, 100 kilos, and again, we're just looking to draw out a reaction from the person on bottom. He takes that underhook away. I got all kinds of space here, okay? So one thing that my opponent might choose to do, especially if they're unskilled and maybe like panicking a little bit, they clamp down on this headlock, totally mindless of the fact that I'm completely out of position to even be like trying this, right? So it's a very simple counter. We're already in 100 kilos, so you just actively block overhead, no space, flex the shoulder, and start to walk. And the last, it's starting to work. Open your hip. There you go. Okay. Home base. 100 kilos, reach back. Palms in the mat. Blocking the hip, blocking the head. Actively driving everything overhead this way. So I'm actively blocking like this. That's going to take all that space away. Okay? He hips out, clamps down on my head. Same thing, just actively walk everything overhead. Start to drive that shoulder in, open up. Anywhere below the eyes, you're going to be able to create a tremendous amount of pressure, even if it's the jaw. Okay? But do your best to drive that shoulder into the carotid artery, and be sure to give the choke time to work. We're only shutting off the artery on the one side, so it might take 10, 12, 15 seconds, okay? If you need to make an adjustment, like you feel like it's not working, I can go palm up here and like pull him into me. Okay? This gets me into position. If you're here and you feel like it's not working, pull him into you a little bit. Okay? So it's 100 kilos of on fluke.